Hi there, Dr. Ben Young here, and this is the Perio Patient Podcast, episode number 37. I've entitled this one, Let's Talk About Back Teeth. This all started a few episodes ago when I chose to talk about the front teeth. And if you haven't heard that one, go back now or listen to this and go back. It doesn't really matter. We're going to press on and talk about back teeth. As I said last time, the front teeth have a function that they share. Without all of the front teeth, both upper and lower, this function is weakened. I'm talking about incising food, biting into food. Now, I know a lot of people, the front teeth are important for smiling, and that's great. They're also important for speech, but their biggest benefit really for survival is the ability to bite through food. And just as the front teeth have a function, so the back teeth, as a team, have a function as well. They grind or chew food up. So let's think about the tooth now that is just behind the upper cuspid. That was the last one we talked about on the front tooth series. Remember, you had the center tooth, which is the central incisor. Next to it is the lateral incisor, and next to it at the corner of the mouth is the cuspid. It's also called the canine, but since this first back tooth we're talking about has the name of first bicuspid and not the first bicanine, we're going to drop the idea of canines at this point. The upper bicuspid, as you would expect, has two cusps, bicuspid, thus the name. It's obvious with the upper cuspid why it's named a bicuspid, but not so much with the lower one, because when you look at the lower tooth that is opposing that upper first bicuspid, which is called the lower first bicuspid, it has one large cusp and a tiny little teeny cusp. So I'm sure that when they started naming these teeth bicuspids, they took the name by looking at the upper one and then looked at the bottom one and said, well, I guess we'll call that a bicuspid as well. Now, the front teeth, as part of their function, move past each other to cut through the food. So they actually miss contacting one another when they're in a purely up and down motion. That isn't the case with the back teeth, starting with these two bicuspids. They're intended to hit each other and to do so to chew the food up or grind it between them. Children do not have bicuspids. The baby or deciduous teeth that are found after the cuspids or behind them are deciduous molars. And why is this? Well, it has to do with head size. The child is growing from a little bitty head to a bigger head and doesn't need large teeth. So the teeth are smaller. The front set of teeth are all the same as the upper adult teeth. So they have a central incisor, lateral incisor, and cuspid. But then they only need two back teeth to grind with, and they are called the molars. Deciduous or primary molars, first molars, then second molars. Now let's go back and count the number of teeth in a child's head. The child has all the front teeth in the same relative shape and position as the adult, although obviously much smaller. So they have the central, the lateral, the cuspid. That's three types of teeth. They have six of these teeth on the top, 6 on the bottom, for a total of 12 front teeth. And then they have two sets of molars, upper right, upper left, lower right, lower left, for a total of 8 teeth. 12 plus 8 equals 20. So children have 20 deciduous teeth. Can they have more or less? Yeah, but that's the norm. So now, starting with the back teeth, we get the idea of this first and second business. And the way to remember this is that they're named by how they erupt into the mouth, the first ones we see. So in children, the tooth right behind the cuspid is the primary first molar and then the primary second molar. And the teeth that replace these in adults are the primary first bicuspid and the primary second bicuspid. Anyway, the first and second primary molars are replaced by the permanent or adult first and second bicuspids. I think I've said that enough. Behind the bicuspids in adults come the molars, with the largest one being right behind the second bicuspids. And of course, we're going to call that the first molar because it's the first one in the older child, that erupts. And it will erupt right behind where the second primary molar was. It is the workhorse of the back teeth, being the largest tooth in the back. And that's why it's really important, if that tooth is lost, that it be replaced, because its space is large and the teeth that are going to attempt to chew in its place are smaller, and it wears out all the teeth. The other thing to think about is if you lose one molar on one side of the mouth, you're going to dominate on the other side of the mouth, thus wearing out those teeth faster. So it's really important, especially with first molars, that they be replaced. Now, the problem with replacing a first molar with a bridge is that the teeth on either side of that molar are smaller teeth. So it's more of a challenge for those teeth to take on their role to function and chew, and add to them having to replace this first molar. It's also tough on replacing a cuspid with a bridge, because the bridge turns a corner. You're working from a back tooth around to a front tooth, but they're not in a straight line. And that's a problem. And also, they are replacing a larger, bigger rooted tooth. That's especially a problem if you think about your lower teeth, with the first bicuspid replacing a cuspid around to a lateral incisor. That lateral incisor is really small, so that bridge doesn't work easily there. And these are the reasons why, when we're talking about replacing cuspids and first molars, that dental implants are important in the discussion, because sometimes they'll do a better job than trying to replace things with a bridge. So now, after talking about the first molars, let's talk about second molars. Second molars look kind of like first molars, pretty much, but they're smaller. And then behind them come the third molars, or wisdom teeth. And why they're called wisdom teeth, I have no idea. So, the other final thing to think about with molars right now is that upper molars have 3 roots and lower molars have 2 roots. So now, we've covered front teeth and back teeth, and I'd like to give you a broader picture about how your mouth works and how all of the teeth function together. We've talked about front teeth biting through and the back teeth grinding, but the front teeth protect the back teeth, and the back teeth protect the front teeth. And here's how. When you move your jaw side to side, you should find that only certain teeth touch. They should be the cuspids. When your lower jaw moves forward, the only teeth that should touch should be your front teeth or incisors. Your back teeth actually aren't touching when your jaw is not directly under, your lower jaw is not directly under your upper jaw. And that protects those teeth from breaking apart as you're chewing side to side. So if you don't have your front teeth and you're chewing with your back teeth, you're going to find that your back teeth flatten out and all the cusps of those molars turn flat. So that's a problem. So now, how do your back teeth protect your front teeth? So let's imagine you don't have any back teeth, then your jaw doesn't have a stop when it's closing, and it'll close deeper. And when it closes deeper, it means that your front teeth are going to bang one another more side to side. Another thing that happens is, as you don't have back teeth to grind with, you're going to use your front teeth to grind with, and that's going to flatten those teeth. And the ones that flatten the most, but not only, are usually your lower front teeth. But the upper teeth can turn flat too. So another way to put all of this is, if you have a lot of wear in your mouth, or you have fillings that break, it may not be a problem with that filling or that particular tooth. It may be that your teeth are not functioning well together, thus exposing this tooth that's breaking or this filling that's breaking. So I think that's enough to chew on for now. In the future, I'm going to talk about the amazing temporomandibular joints. There are actually 2 of them on the associated with the jaws. We're also calling them the TMJ. And we'll talk about everything associated with that in a future podcast. So this has been the Perio Patient Podcast, episode 37. Again, my name is Ben Young. I'm a practicing periodontist in San Antonio, Texas. And I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe so you get these podcasts as they come out. There's going to be a little delay on the next ones because I'm out of town for a week, but I'm sorry, someone's got to do it. And please give this a good review if you like what you're hearing and you think it would benefit others. If you don't think so, then don't give me a bad review. That just buries this podcast in the sea of anonymity and no one will ever find it again. And that would be really sad. Thanks for listening. They told me I had type A blood, but it was a type O. Now go fly.